Before you freak out and lose your mind, let me tell you why I think the Green Bay Packers trading Davante Adams to the Las Vegas Raiders is not the end of the world. And in fact, I think it just might be a blessing in disguise. I don't know, that was me like trying to look like I was in disguise. I don't know. You heard correctly. Green Bay is going to be trading Davante Adams to the Las Vegas Raiders for reportedly a first round and second round draft pick in this year's draft. In return, the Vegas Raiders are agreeing to pay Davante Adams a 5-year, $141 million contract, good for $28.25 million per year, resetting the receiver market and shattering that $27 threshold that Hopkins signs. And you might say, look, it's only like $1 million more, but honestly, if you look at every other receiver around the NFL, no one's making anywhere close to this. Even the Hopkins contract, like that 2-year, $54 million contract extension he signed, it was just added on to another extension that he signed. And that's really where the crux of the issue was for the Green Bay Packers. In Green Bay's mind, that 2-year contract extension that he signed with the Cardinals was just really added into the 4-year extension I believe he signed, or maybe it was a 5-year extension he originally signed with the Texans before they traded him to Arizona. So the Packers were looking at it more so like he was just making around $20 or $21 million a year. In Davante's mind, he was fixed on that $27 million number, and thus why he asked for $30, and now he's going to be making $28 million with the Raiders. Now, I felt like the Packers would have been able to get more in return for this if they would not have waited so long to trade him. But there were reports on Twitter from a couple of different sources that said, look, the Packers even offered to pay Davante as much, if not more, than what Vegas offered to pay him, and that there were other teams that would have given the Packers more in compensation, but Davante was fixated on playing with the Raiders, and because he was basically signed to that tender, the franchise tag, he could just basically sit out, and the Packers will be on the hook for $20 million on the cap. But now the Packers get a first-round draft pick and a second-round draft pick in this year's drafts, which I think is going to play out very well for Gutekunst, who has been aggressive in the past, and I think this year they're going to be really aggressive. Now, here's 3 reasons why I don't think that this is the end of the world. I don't think this is the end of the world, and in fact, I feel like this could be a blessing in disguise. The first reason why is Aaron Rodgers. Now, going back to the playoffs, we've seen now in 3 consecutive years that Aaron Rodgers and Davante Adams could not get it done. Yes, they both put up, career numbers in the regular season for the last 3 years. Yes, they both put up all-pro numbers. Rodgers put up MVP-like numbers. But in the playoffs, when it counted most, they couldn't get it done. And Rodgers, as we saw, preferred to force the ball to Davante in those critical situations when other guys were, quite frankly, wide the fuck open. So I think this is going to be good for Aaron Rodgers, even though he's not going to like it, and I'm sure he's heartbroken and he's devastated. He is going to now be forced to spread the ball around, much like he did in his younger years, where it was very commonplace for him to hit 7, 8, 9, sometimes 10 plus different receivers in a game. The second reason why I feel like this could be a blessing in disguise is because now Matt LaFleur, who really has a background in running the ball heavily, and the new offensive coordinator, who is an offensive lineman by trade and an offensive line coach by trade, now they can just focus on running the ball. And if you look back over the last 3 years, they have never lost a game where Davante did not start. Now, I know there was one game in 2019 where he got injured halfway through the game against Philly and they ended up losing, but even still, they only lost by like a touchdown or less. I want to say it was maybe 3 points or maybe even less than 3. It could have been 1 point. It was no more than 4 points. So I believe now they can focus on the running game and they can rebrand themselves into a running football team. Run first, okay? Set up the play action. And not just passing the ball down the field all the time. They can work those underneath routes, those short routes. Let guys get open in space and let them work. Now, the third reason why I feel like this could be a blessing in disguise is because now the Packers have more resources in the draft to be aggressive. They have an extra first and an extra second. They have more cap. They have more space on the salary cap. And so now they can go after some of these second tier receivers that are going to be on the market, like a Jarvis Landry or a Julio Jones. And then they can also move up into a higher position in this year's draft and maybe select a marquee big name out of college that can come in and make an immediate impact, a la Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'm probably about a 4 as far as it comes to being shocked. And as far as it comes to being happy, I'm pretty happy. I'm about a 7, maybe 7.5, 8, because I didn't want the Packers to overpay for Davante Adams. I don't think any receiver is worth that amount of money, so I'm glad that they held firm, because it was reported, like I said, the Packers was going to pay him even more, potentially, or just as much. But Adams said, look, I just want a change of scenery. And I'm not surprised, because he was adamant about his number. So I didn't think anything under 28 was going to get it done. And the fact that the Packers came with a low ball of $23 million per year, I think that pissed him off. And I think it also pissed him off that he was tagged in the first place, because he told them, I'm not going to play under a franchise tag. Davante Adams, he stood on his principles, dog. And I can respect him for that. And I have no animosity or ill will towards Davante Adams for what he has done. I salute him and thank him for his service to this Green Bay Packer organization. But I think it is really just time that they move on. But I want to know what you guys think. Do you think the Packers made a mistake? Do you agree? Do you disagree? On a scale of 1 to 10, how mad are you? How angry are you? You know what I'm saying? What do you think the Packers are going to do now that they have an extra 1 or 2 picks in the draft, man? Get them fingers typing. I want to know. And if you haven't done so yet, sack that subscription button for me. I would greatly appreciate it. Until the next show, you know what it is. Go, Pack, go. And remember, the Bears still suck.